I grew up hearing the same message from my family. I wasn't good enough. My older sister Victoria had always been the golden child. Married to a successful hedge fund manager, living in the right neighborhood, belonging to the right clubs. I was just Emma, the younger sister who worked some tech thing that nobody bothered to understand. The pattern started early. When I was 12 and Victoria was 16, Mom would compare our report cards at dinner. Victoria's straight A's earned her a new car at 16. My straight A's earned me a nod and "that's nice, dear." When Victoria got into Yale, there was a celebration party with 200 guests. When I got into MIT, Dad said, "That's a good safety school," and went back to reading his newspaper. I learned to stay quiet. I learned to smile and nod. I learned that nothing I accomplished would ever be enough, so I stopped trying to make them see me. After college, I moved to San Francisco and started working. My family assumed I had some entry-level tech job, maybe customer service or data entry. They never asked for details. I never corrected them. When I came home for holidays, they'd pat me on the head and ask if I was still playing with computers. Victoria, meanwhile, married Bradley 3 years ago. The wedding cost $300,000. I wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid. Mom said it would look unbalanced to have me standing next to Victoria's successful friends. I sat in the back row and left before the reception ended. Last month, Victoria announced she was pregnant. Mom immediately began planning an elaborate baby shower at the Riverside Country Club, the most exclusive club in our hometown. Membership fees started at $50,000 annually, with a $200,000 initiation fee and a 5-year waiting list. "We're having it at the club, of course," Victoria announced during our weekly family Zoom call. She looked directly at the camera, making sure I could see her perfectly highlighted hair and designer maternity dress. "Members and their families only. It's very exclusive." "Sounds lovely," I said, sitting in my small San Francisco apartment, the one they thought was all I could afford. "You can come if you want," Victoria added, her tone making it clear it was a reluctant invitation. "Though I know the club isn't really your scene. Very upscale. Sophisticated." Mom jumped in. "Maybe Emma would be more comfortable just sending a gift, dear. The club has certain standards." I smiled into the camera. "I'll be there. Wouldn't miss it." Victoria's perfectly microbladed eyebrows rose. "Well, don't feel obligated. I know the drive from San Francisco is long, and you probably can't afford to take time off work." That was 3 weeks ago. I marked the date in my calendar and said nothing more about it. The baby shower was scheduled for Saturday afternoon. I flew in Friday night and checked into a modest hotel near the airport, the kind of place my family would expect me to stay. I didn't tell them I was in town early. Saturday morning, I drove to the Riverside Country Club. The building was stunning. All white columns and manicured gardens, overlooking the 18th hole of a championship golf course. Valets rushed to park arriving Mercedes and BMWs. Women in designer sundresses and men in country club casuals streamed through the grand entrance. I parked my rental car, a modest sedan, in the far corner of the lot and walked toward the entrance. I was wearing a simple sundress from Target, my hair in a ponytail. I looked exactly like what my family expected. The poor relation, dressed in her Sunday best, trying to fit in where she didn't belong. The valet gave me a skeptical look but said nothing. I walked through the marble-floored lobby toward the Magnolia Ballroom, where Victoria's shower was being held. The sounds of laughter and clinking champagne glasses echoed down the hallway. I slipped into the ballroom quietly. About 60 women were already there. Victoria's sorority sisters, Bradley's colleagues' wives, Mom's book club friends, distant relatives I barely knew. The room was decorated in soft pink and gold, with elaborate floral centerpieces on every table. A string quartet played in the corner. Waiters circulated with champagne and canapés. Victoria sat at the head table on a throne-like chair, one hand resting on her pregnant belly, accepting gifts and compliments like a queen holding court. Mom stood beside her, beaming with pride. I found a seat at a table in the back, next to some distant cousins I hadn't seen since childhood. They glanced at me, looked confused for a moment, then turned away without saying hello. The gift opening began. Victoria unwrapped designer baby clothes, a $1,000 stroller, a custom-made crib. Each gift prompted squeals of delight and photos for Instagram. Mom made sure to announce the price of each item, as if the cost proved how much the giver loved Victoria. This is from Aunt Patricia, Mom announced, holding up a silver rattle from Tiffany. $1,200. More squeals. More photos. More champagne. I sat quietly, sipping water, my simple wrapped gift sitting on the table beside me. I'd brought a handmade baby blanket from a small shop in San Francisco. Cost $80. I knew it would be mocked. After an hour of gifts, Mom spotted me. Her eyes widened in surprise. She clearly hadn't expected me to actually show up. She whispered something to Victoria, who turned and looked at me with an expression somewhere between annoyance and amusement. Emma. Mom called out, her voice carrying across the ballroom. You made it. Come up here and say hello to your sister. I stood and walked to the front of the room. 60 pairs of eyes followed me, taking in my cheap dress and drugstore makeup. I could hear the whispers starting. Who's that? Victoria's sister. Really? She doesn't look like family. I reached Victoria and leaned down to hug her. She tolerated it for exactly 2 seconds before pulling away. So glad you could make it, she said, her tone suggesting the opposite. I wasn't sure you'd be able to afford the time off work. I made it work, I said simply. Mom jumped in, her smile tight. Emma works in San Francisco. Tech industry. Very proud of her. One of Victoria's sorority sisters, a blonde woman in a Chanel dress, spoke up. Oh, how exciting. Are you an engineer? A programmer? Before I could answer, Victoria laughed. Oh no, nothing like that. Emma does something with computers. We've never quite understood what. She patted my hand condescendingly. It's very sweet that she tries. The women laughed politely. I smiled and said nothing. Well, sit. Mom gestured for me to return to my table. We're about to have lunch. I started to walk back when Victoria's voice stopped me. Oh, Emma, before you sit down, I wanted to ask you something. I turned back. Victoria's eyes glittered with something cruel. Bradley and I have been thinking about joining another club. Somewhere even more exclusive than Riverside. The Platinum Reserve Club downtown. Do you know it? I nodded. I knew it very well. The membership fees are quite steep, Victoria continued, making sure her voice carried to the entire room. $75,000 annually, plus a $400,000 initiation. But Bradley thinks we should apply. She paused dramatically. Of course, it's probably more than you make in several years. But isn't it wonderful that Bradley can provide that kind of lifestyle? Very wonderful, I agreed quietly. I mean, no offense, but you probably couldn't even afford the basic membership here at Riverside. Victoria laughed, gesturing around the ballroom. The initiation fee alone is $200,000. Can you imagine? Mom laughed too, a little nervously. Now Victoria, be nice. But Victoria was on a roll. I'm just saying it must be hard for you seeing how well Bradley takes care of me. Seeing all this. She gestured at the elaborate decorations, the expensive gifts, the designer-dressed guests. Knowing it's so far out of reach for you. The room had gone quiet. Everyone was watching. This was the entertainment. Watching Victoria put her poor sister in her place. I looked at her calmly. You're right. It's very impressive. Victoria smiled, satisfied. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I just think it's important to be realistic about your station in life. You know, some people are meant for country clubs and some people are meant for public parks. A few women giggled. Mom's face was turning red, but she said nothing to stop it. You can't even afford the basic membership, Victoria said louder now, playing to her audience. I mean, be honest with yourself, Emma. When was the last time you even stepped foot in a place like this? I smiled. This morning, actually. Victoria blinked. What? I was here this morning. Had some business to discuss with the management. Mom frowned. What are you talking about? Stick to your public parks, dear. Mom suddenly interjected, trying to redirect. Places more suited to your budget. This lifestyle isn't for everyone. I nodded slowly. You're absolutely right, Mom. Not everyone belongs here. I picked up my purse and turned to leave. As I walked toward the ballroom exit, I could hear Victoria's triumphant laughter behind me, her friends joining in. Someone said something about knowing your place. Someone else mentioned how sad it must be to be the unsuccessful sibling. I walked through the lobby with my head high and left through the main entrance. The valets looked away as I passed. I got in my rental car and drove away from the country club. But I didn't go far. I pulled into a coffee shop parking lot 2 blocks away and waited. At 10:47 a.m. on Sunday morning, my phone rang. Miss Chin. It was Richard Morrison, the general manager of Riverside Country Club. I'd hired him myself 6 years ago. Good morning, Richard. I just wanted to confirm, you want to proceed with the membership cancellations? All of them, I confirmed. Victoria and Bradley Thompson. Patricia and Robert Chin. Any family members listed under those accounts? Including your mother's individual membership? Especially my mother's individual membership. There was a pause. Miss Chin, just so you're aware, Mrs. Thompson is currently hosting an event in the Magnolia Ballroom. This will cause quite a scene. I'm aware. And you want me to inform them immediately? Immediately. Very well. I'll call them now. I hung up and waited. 3 minutes later, my phone lit up with a call from Mom. I let it go to voicemail. Then Victoria called. Voicemail. Then Bradley. Then Mom again. Then Victoria again. I started my car and began the drive back to San Francisco, my phone buzzing continuously in the cup holder. By Sunday evening, I had 43 missed calls and 67 text messages. I ignored all of them until Monday morning when I was back in my San Francisco office, the penthouse floor of the building I owned in the financial district. I finally called Mom back at 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon in their time zone. Emma. Oh my God, Emma, you have to fix this. Mom's voice was frantic. There's been a terrible mistake at the club. What kind of mistake? I asked calmly, reviewing the quarterly reports my CFO had sent over. They canceled our memberships. All of them. Victoria's, mine, your Aunt Patricia's. They're saying the owner requested it. They won't tell us who the owner is, but this is obviously some horrible computer error. That's terrible, I said, signing off on a $60 million acquisition. The manager, some man named Richard Morrison, he called right in the middle of Victoria's baby shower. In front of all her friends. He said our memberships were terminated immediately and we needed to vacate the premises. How embarrassing. It was humiliating. Victoria was crying. Everyone was staring. They escorted us out like we were criminals. I made a sympathetic sound and kept reading my reports. Emma, you have to help us fix this, Mom continued. You work with computers, right? Maybe this is some kind of hack? Can you call someone? Do something. I don't think I can help with that, Mom. Please. Victoria is devastated. She's 8 months pregnant and they embarrassed her in front of everyone. Her friends are posting about it on social media. Someone recorded the whole thing. That sounds very stressful for her. Emma. Mom's voice cracked. I don't understand what happened. We've been members there for 12 years. Your father used to golf there every Sunday before he passed. They can't just kick us out. Actually, I said calmly, they can. Property owners have the right to refuse service to anyone. But who would do this? Who would be so cruel? I set down my pen and looked out my office window at the San Francisco skyline. Mom, do you remember when I was 12 and got straight A's and you said, "That's nice, dear," and then took Victoria out for a celebration dinner without me? There was silence on the other end. Do you remember when I got into MIT and Dad called it a safety school? More silence. Do you remember Victoria's wedding where I sat in the back row because I wasn't good enough to be a bridesmaid? Emma, what does this have to do with? Do you remember yesterday when Victoria told me I couldn't afford the basic membership? When you told me to stick to public parks? Emma. I bought Riverside Country Club 6 years ago, Mom. I'm the owner. I've been the owner since I was 28 years old. I own 4 other country clubs in 3 states. The Platinum Reserve Club that Victoria mentioned? I own that too. In fact, I own a portfolio of 17 luxury properties, including the hotel where Victoria had her wedding reception. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. You what? My tech thing that nobody bothered to understand? I founded a software company when I was 23. We specialized in luxury property management systems. I sold that company for $800 million when I was 26. I used that money to start buying properties. Country clubs, resorts, boutique hotels. I'm currently worth about $2.3 billion. I heard Mom trying to breathe. Richard Morrison, the general manager you just mentioned? I hired him. He reports directly to me. When he called yesterday morning and asked why the owner was canceling your memberships, he was asking me. I told him to proceed with the cancellations and to do it during the baby shower. I wanted Victoria to experience just once what it feels like to be humiliated in front of everyone. Emma, please. I'm not finished, I said calmly. The memberships are permanently canceled. I've also instructed all 17 properties in my portfolio to flag your names. You're not welcome at any of them. Not as guests, not as members, not even for events. You can't do that. I literally can. I own them. Mom's voice changed to pleading. Emma, sweetheart, there's been a misunderstanding. We've always been proud of you. We've always. No, you haven't. And that's fine. I don't need you to be proud of me. I don't need your approval or your love or your acceptance. I built my life without any of that. Emma, Victoria is pregnant. She's your sister. How can you be so cruel? I laughed, and the sound was bitter even to my own ears. How can I be so cruel? Mom, listen to yourself. Yesterday, Victoria publicly mocked me in front of 60 people. You stood there and let it happen. You joined in. You've both been doing it my entire life. But now that there are consequences, suddenly I'm cruel. We didn't mean. Yes, you did. You absolutely did. And you know what? I don't even blame you anymore. I used to think something was wrong with me. That I wasn't good enough, smart enough, successful enough to earn your love. It took me years to realize the problem was never me. It was you. My office phone buzzed. My assistant's voice came through the intercom. Miss Chen, your 9:30 is here. I have to go, Mom. I have a meeting with some investors about acquiring a resort chain in Tahoe. Each property is worth about $40 million. That's probably more than Victoria's husband makes in a year. But isn't it wonderful that I can provide that kind of lifestyle for myself? Emma, wait. Don't call me again. And tell Victoria her baby gift is in the mail. It's a handmade blanket from a small shop in San Francisco. Cost $80. I'm sure she'll hate it, but maybe her daughter will appreciate it someday when she's old enough to understand that price doesn't equal value. I hung up. My phone immediately started ringing again. I blocked Mom's number. Then Victoria's. Then Bradley's. Tuesday morning, I received an email from Aunt Patricia. The subject line was family emergency. The email was long, desperate, and poorly punctuated. She explained that she and Uncle Robert were facing serious social consequences from the country club incident. Their friends were asking questions. People were gossiping. Someone had posted a video on Instagram of Victoria being asked to leave the baby shower, and it had gone viral in their social circle. Please reconsider, Patricia wrote. This is destroying Victoria's reputation. She's getting messages from her sorority sisters asking what happened. Bradley's colleagues are talking. This could hurt his career. Emma, she's pregnant. Have mercy. I deleted the email without responding. Wednesday afternoon, my head of security informed me that Victoria and Bradley had shown up at the lobby of my office building, demanding to see me. Security had escorted them out. Thursday morning, my attorney called. Miss Chen, I received a letter from a Patricia Chen. She's claiming you've damaged her reputation and her niece's reputation through your actions at Riverside Country Club. She's threatening to sue for defamation and emotional distress. I laughed. On what grounds? I exercised my rights as a property owner to terminate memberships. There's no defamation in that. That's what I told her attorney, he said. They have no case. But I wanted you to be aware. Thank you. Let me know if they actually file anything. They didn't. Friday evening, 1 week after the baby shower, I received a handwritten letter. It was delivered by courier to my office, marked urgent personal. The letter was from Victoria. Her handwriting was shaky. Emma, I don't know what else to do. I've called, I've texted, I've tried to visit your office. You won't respond. So I'm writing this letter because I need you to understand what you've done. The video of us being kicked out of my baby shower has been viewed over 1 million times. Someone posted it on TikTok with the caption, "Rich people get karma." The comments are brutal. People are calling me entitled, spoiled, a bully. Someone dug up my Instagram and is posting mean comments on all my photos. Bradley's firm is upset. They're worried the negative publicity reflects badly on them. He might lose clients. My friends won't stop asking questions. They want to know who owns the club. They want to know why we were kicked out. What am I supposed to tell them? That my little sister, who I thought was a failure, is actually a billionaire who owns the club and kicked us out for revenge. Mom is devastated. She's crying every day. She feels betrayed. She says you've changed, that success has made you cruel and vindictive. I know I was mean to you at the shower. I know I said things I shouldn't have. But did I really deserve this? Did I deserve to be publicly humiliated while pregnant? Did I deserve to have my reputation destroyed? I'm sorry for what I said. I'm sorry for not being a better sister. Please, Emma. Please fix this. Cancel whatever blacklist you've put on our names. Let us back into the clubs. Help me salvage my reputation. I'm begging you. Your sister, Victoria. I read the letter 3 times. Then I put it in my desk drawer and went back to work. 2 weeks after the shower, Mom called from a number I didn't recognize. I answered before I realized it wasn't blocked. Emma. Oh, thank God. She was crying. Please, sweetheart, please listen to me. I told you not to call. I know, but please. Just listen. Victoria went into early labor. The doctors think the stress triggered it. She had the baby yesterday. A girl. 7 pounds, healthy, but Victoria is not okay. She's depressed. She won't eat. She won't hold the baby. She just lies there crying. I said nothing. The doctors say it's postpartum depression, made worse by the stress of the past 2 weeks. Emma, please. I'm begging you. Whatever point you were trying to make, you've made it. We understand. We were wrong. We treated you terribly. But please don't punish the baby for our mistakes. Don't punish Victoria while she's vulnerable like this. I closed my eyes. What's the baby's name? Emma, Mom whispered. They named her Emma. I sat in silence for a long moment. Emma. Mom's voice was fragile. Are you still there? I'm here. Please. Please help us fix this. I don't care about the country club anymore. I don't care about any of it. I just want my daughter to be okay. I want my granddaughter to grow up in a family that isn't destroyed by this. I took a deep breath. The blacklist stays. The membership cancellations stay. But I'll have my PR team handle the social media situation. They'll get the videos taken down and manage the narrative. It'll cost about $100,000, but I'll cover it. Oh, thank you, thank you. I'm not doing it for you or for Victoria, I interrupted. I'm doing it for the baby. She doesn't deserve to grow up with viral videos of her mother's humiliation. But understand this. Nothing else changes. You and Victoria made your choices. You chose to treat me like garbage for 32 years. You chose to mock me publicly. Actions have consequences. We understand, Mom said quickly. We do. And Emma, for what it's worth, I'm so proud of you. What you've accomplished. Don't, I said sharply. Don't you dare say you're proud of me now. You had 32 years to be proud. You had 32 years to see me, to value me, to treat me like I mattered. You chose not to. You don't get to be proud of me now that you know I'm worth $2 billion. That's not love. That's not family. That's opportunism. Emma. Send me a picture of the baby. I'll send a gift. A real one this time. A trust fund. $5 million accessible when she turns 25. Maybe it'll give her the freedom to be herself, whoever that is, without worrying about living up to impossible family standards. Mom was crying harder now. That's too generous. You don't have to. I'm not doing it for you, I repeated. I'm doing it for her. She deserves a better family than the one we had. I hung up before Mom could respond. That evening I sat in my penthouse apartment, the one my family had never seen, looking out at the San Francisco skyline. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of a tiny baby girl with dark hair and my eyes, wrapped in a hospital blanket. Another text came through. Her full name is Emma Patricia Chin Thompson. Thank you for the trust fund. Thank you for everything. Victoria. I looked at the photo for a long time. Then I forwarded it to my attorney with instructions to set up the trust fund and to include an additional clause. The baby would receive financial literacy education starting at age 12, funded by the trust. She would learn about money, investing, and independence. She would learn that her worth wasn't determined by her family's opinion of her. She would learn what I had to teach myself. 3 months later, I received a package. Inside was a framed photo of baby Emma wearing the handmade blanket I'd sent. The one from the San Francisco shop, the one I thought Victoria would hate. There was a note in Victoria's handwriting. She sleeps with this every night. It's her favorite. Maybe you were right about price not equaling value. Maybe I was wrong about a lot of things. I'm sorry I didn't see you before. I see you now. I put the photo on my desk right next to the Forbes magazine from 6 years ago. The one with my face on the cover, the one that said, Tech Prodigy Turned Property Mogul. How Emma Chin Built a Billion-Dollar Empire. The one my family had never seen because they'd never bothered to look. I returned to work, managing my 17 properties, planning my next acquisition, living my life. The life I built without them. The life they never believed I could have. And every morning I walked into my office at Riverside Country Club, the one I still owned, the one they could never enter again, and I smiled. Because I finally understood. Their inability to see my worth was never a reflection of my value. It was a reflection of their vision. And I didn't need their approval anymore. I never had.